established a program that we hope will address the funding issue for MoDOT, which I think all of us feel is a very, very real and current need. And as you know, the basis of this is a 1 cent sales tax limited for a period of 10 years. Now, I think what we'd like to do is turn this over to you and see what types of questions that you might have about our plan. We know that it needs to be limited. We've done some work in terms of finding out what Missourians think they want. I know that the senator has been around the state, and we have a number of issues that obviously are going to have to be addressed. This is a starting point. It's going to be a conversation. We're not saying we have the final draft of this, but we are asking for input, and we're going to be studying it. The members of the commission, while we have not formally adopted this, have certainly discussed it among ourselves, and I think I can speak for every one of those. Please come on up. At any rate, we're here to try to answer questions that you might have relative to what we have proposed. And at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to the floor and see what questions you might have. We'll start with this gentleman over here.
Mr. Chairman, as you know, lawmakers are considering a number of options. There was talk just yesterday, in fact, of including highway funding in a rather broad and ambitious package of bonding, which would have other things in it, like mental hospitals and higher education facilities. Why a sales tax as opposed to bonding or some other form of funding?
Well, I think the way I would answer that is the question of what type of bonding would be used, how long would it go, because what we have in this state is an ongoing need for transportation funding. Usually with the bonding, what you do is you go out and you basically sell X number of dollars worth of bonds for a given period of time. Well, while that infuses money into the system for a period of time, it does not solve the long-run problems that we have. So my personal preference is to try to get at the heart of the problem, which is a sustainable, long-term fix for Missouri's transportation problems.
$7.5 billion over 10 years doesn't even touch I-70 or I-44, right?
No, that's not right. It doesn't touch I-44, but in the plan, we're setting aside approximately $1 billion to start a program that would address I-70 over about a 5-year period. Our thought is to bond a portion of the sales tax in order to produce a sufficiency of funds, along with funds that we will use from Amendment 3 to do the $1.5 to $1.6 billion that it's going to take care of I-70.
I thought I-70 was at 7.
I beg your pardon?
Was the $7 billion number that was thrown around before 70 and 44 together?
No. There have been various estimates on what it would cost with respect to I-70. But the solution that I think is the most probable would be one that would cost something in the neighborhood of $1.6 billion. What would that buy, sir? That would buy an extra lane on, well, actually you would be rebuilding the entire road, but it would buy an extra lane in each way. And that would be one of the situation that you would find that you would prohibit trucks from driving in the third lane. And I have seen this done in a number of places in the United States, and it does increase traffic flow enormously and keep it much, much safer.
But it would not be the separate truck lanes that
No.
Mr. Rod talked about at one time?
No. The price tag on that, as we looked at it, and as I recall from memory, was in the $4 to $5 billion range. And we simply don't have funds to do that. It's a wonderful concept, but unfortunately, we have, Senator, we can drive Fords, but yes, we can't afford Lincolns.
There you go.
Would this involve any new interstates where some don't currently exist?
Well, We don't think that that's probable at this period of time. The way the process would work is that the various planning partners would decide what is needed in their area. It's pretty hard to envision building a new interstate with the funds that we're talking about here. Now, there may be some improvements on certain roads that could be brought up to interstate standards, but as far as a new interstate initiative, it isn't really contained in this thought process.
And the proposal to do an interstate on 54 from Hannibal to Lebanon would also be not available?
Well, I guess I ought to answer it this way. You might be able to do parts of these over time, but the amount of funds that would be freed up or put into the system probably do not allow initiatives of that nature. Although you're going to have to wait because the department is in the process of working on and getting input. So it's probably a little premature to say, well, this can't happen or that can't happen.
In your remarks an hour ago, you said this would create something like 250,000 new jobs.
Or sustain.
Permanent, sustained jobs? Or when the tax goes away in 10 years, do the jobs follow?
No, actually, what I was making reference to, some of those are construction jobs, but others come about as a result of economic activity, which happens because of highways. And without question, in my experience, the transportation issue plays a big part in where people expand and where they locate. And so I think that's probably a very good number, and I think it's sustainable jobs.
Do you envision this going through the legislature or see this as more of an initiative?
I think it would be best to go through the legislature personally.
Do you have a target date for the election? Are you looking at April of 14 or August or November, or to be determined?
Well, let's put it this way. If it goes through the legislature and it's a constitutional amendment, and if the governor does not call a special election, then it goes in 2014 in November.
You're looking at this as an amendment, not just a law that would raise the tax?
No, it would be a constitutional amendment.
Why do it as a 10-year? Do you view that as something that would be renewed every 10 years then, or?
If we do our job properly, I think the citizens of Missouri may very well consider renewing it. I think as a taxpayer, I think the citizens of Missouri deserve some accountability, and a tax that goes on and on and on without any report card, I don't think is very desirable, and personally, I don't think I could support that. Other questions?
This legislature hasn't been too fond of tax increases. How we usually can...
We're not asking the legislature to do a tax increase. What we are asking the legislature to do is to allow the citizens of Missouri to vote on whether they wish to tax themselves for transportation.
But this legislature has been reluctant to do even those kinds of issues. I've heard lawmakers in both the House and Senate say, if I do that, then I'm supporting a tax increase, and I can't do that. So following up on Virginia's question, aren't you creating a mountain that's going to be hard to climb just to get it to the ballot?
You know, in this life, there's very few things that are easy. And certainly I didn't say that this would be easy. But I think the timing of this is such that people have had an opportunity to look at transportation, and the information that we're getting back as far as polling is concerned indicates that they think that we have done a good job in the pursuit of transportation, and that they felt like initially they could support something along these lines. Now, whether that stays true or not, whether the legislature will come through, all I can say is that we're going to work as hard as we can to try to represent the people of Missouri, because we think they deserve a vote on this.
Would this be roads and bridges only?
No.
Or would some of the money be available for
No.
airports, airports, et cetera?
No. That's one of the things that we wish to insist upon, and that is It is the Missouri Highway and Transportation Commission. Transportation is more than highways. Highways are very important, but so are ports and the other modes of transportation, aviation. So we want to have this available so that it could be used for whatever transportation needs are most vital. And remember that those are the needs that are going to be brought to the surface by the folks in our planning partners. It is not the commission who is going to dictate where this goes. We wish to listen to what the people want us to do and try to do it. I don't know what Sedalia needs, but Sedalia does.
So you say there would be a list prior to the election of the projects?
Absolutely.
But would you be bound by that? It wouldn't be part of the constitutional amendment?
No, that's true, but what we would suggest is that there be an accountability on an annual basis to say, okay, are you doing what you said you were going to do? And that report goes back to the legislature. And the ultimate stick on this is if we don't do what we said we were going to do, this will never be renewed. It's dead. So we have every incentive to get this right.
Do we return to the annual transportation speech? Would that be part of the accountability or just a written report?
Well, I'm not sure exactly how it will come out of the legislature as we go through. I would imagine that they probably would want both, but I can't speak for them. But there must be accountability in this package.
Has the commission voted on this proposal?
No, we have not voted on the proposal. I have polled the individual commissioners independently, and they support this, but the commission has taken no formal action.